Today I'll be talking about The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, 3 concepts that I've learned from the book and how I've applied them in my day-to-day life. Sorry to break the illusion of filmmaking, but I shot everything out of order. The sun will be at various stages of the day throughout this video. Sorry if that's jarring, but I figured I'd prep you for it. Yeah, so without further ado, let's get into those 3 things. So the first takeaway from this book so far that I've gotten is that there are essentially 2 versions of you. There's the artist, who is kind of like your inner child, and then there's the censor. So the censor, like a censor would, kind of tries to shut down whatever the artist is saying. Like, oh, like it's a lot of negative talk. So it's like you're not good enough. This kind of sucks. Like you'll never make it. That kind of stuff. It also reminds me of like Freud. So it's like the id, the ego, the superego. But it also reminds me of like Ben 10, like Alien X. There's loving, like lovey-dovey personality, and then there's the like straight up logical personality, and then there's Ben, and he's essentially the tiebreaker to make Alien X do anything. That's kind of what this book is telling you to do. The logical part of you is the censor, the lovey-dovey one is your artist, and then you kind of have to step in and be a mediator. The way Cameron talks about your censor, it's very much like your censor is bullying your artist, but basically just like the core principle is like stop being hard on yourself, and then that's kind of reinforced by the next thing, which is the morning pages. The pages are meant to serve the following things. The first one is to ignore the censor. You may start writing stuff down, and you may think like this is garbage. Why am I even writing this? But the goal isn't to write something good. It's just simply to write. The more that you write, the more that you learn to ignore the words that the censor is saying. So by continuing to develop that practice, you're allowing the words to carry less weight whenever they do come up, because they will continue to come up. The second thing is to kind of dump the ideas that you had kind of stirring overnight as you're getting ready for the day. You want to kind of have a clear mind. I also think it's kind of helpful in planning ahead and seeing what you have to do for the day. So for me, I found that it's really good at helping me come up with my to-do list for the rest of the day, whether it's a personal thing, whether it's a creative thing, whether it's at work. I think that is another thing where this book is also helpful for, not just for creativity, but just kind of having a routine and allowing yourself the space to fail. The morning pages are interesting because it's the least barrier to entry for creation. If you write every day, you are essentially creating art every day. There's a line at the end of Wake Up Dead Man that I think is really pertinent to this idea. If I can get OBS to record it, I'll put it up. And if not, I'll just put up a graphic and I'll read it out loud to you.
And some got their miracle. Not being cured or fixed, but finding the sustaining power to wake up every day and do what we're here to do. In spite of the pain. Daily bread.
Having a routine for allowing yourself to do quote unquote the work is essential. That kind of leads me into my next thing, which is that creativity should flow through you, but Cameron uses the word God. So I think that if you do pick up this book, it may be off-putting once you get to that page, but I think she does a good job of caveating that she understands that not everyone is religious. I'm certainly not particularly religious. I grew up Catholic. My mom, took us to church. We were part of our church community. I met some of my friends through the church. So my idea of God comes from that, as well as having watched Fullmetal Alchemist in my formative years. There's a really good quote that I'll also put up on screen now.
I'm so glad you asked. I am called by many names. I am the world. I am the universe. I am God. I am truth. I am all. I am one. And I am also you.
That quote, at least to me, is kind of that everything is interconnected. And that as a result of that interconnectedness, you have the ability to create. Fullmetal Alchemist also has the idea that you're using energy from the Earth's tectonic plates. And one of the principles of alchemy in that show is that you're using energy to perform alchemy. Cameron also says that you can replace the word creative energy for the word God. And if you're not a religious person, I think it's a fair swap, which is why I bring up Fullmetal Alchemist to begin with. Everything takes effort and takes some sort of energy. And I think that that's just Cameron's way of making it the most accessible, because generally I feel like most people believe in God. But if you don't, you're not excluded from wanting to be creative, basically. Before we get into the next thing, I just want to say that I appreciate you making it this far into the video. If you've been enjoying it and finding it helpful, I would appreciate it if you like and subscribe, all the YouTuber stuff. I really like making these videos, and I don't know how to segue out of this appreciation thing, so. And then the last thing is the artist date. So the artist date is the idea of taking pockets of time for yourself and to kind of nurture the relationship that you have with your artist. Going back to the analogy of being a mediator for your two personalities, you're spending alone time with your artist and you're nurturing that relationship so that you can better defend them against the censor. I think it's a great practice, just in general, kind of like it's just another version of self-care. Cameron describes the artist dates as being a literal date. So you would take your artist out on a date the way that you would with any other person. Cameron mentions that you don't have to make it a whole day thing. It can be 5 minutes to go out on a walk. It can be an hour if you want to go, I don't know, to the gym for an hour. For me, I've been taking walks and just kind of being with my thoughts and letting those kind of come out. And at least for me, the walks kind of allow me to explore the space around my new workspace. I found a new pizza place. That place is really good. Shout out, I think it's Fermento Pizza. Fermento Pizza. Shout out to them. They're really good. And then another version of it, at least for me, was the PC build that I did in the last video. That I just let myself do it, because otherwise I would have planned how to use that PC. But I was like, let me just do it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine. It worked well. I tried to swap it to the mini PC. That didn't work. So I'm going to swap it to the Precision PC that I have. Allowing myself to do that on a Saturday afternoon led me to somewhere else. I also think that the artist dates are a great opportunity to put yourself in situations where you normally wouldn't. For me, like all these videos have been in my house. I want to get comfortable filming outside because there's no way that being inside all the time is, one, good for my health, but two, dynamically interesting for videos. So the more that I can get out and film and like take B-roll and without the fear of feeling like, oh, people are watching me, this is weird, like that's something that I want to develop, and something that I think the artist dates are kind of perfect for. Cameron also kind of describes the artist dates as just letting yourself play. So it's essentially playtime. I think the best way to think about it, at least for me, is you're taking your inner child on a play date. Like, what would they want to do? And you just chaperone. Thinking of yourself as two people is difficult. Like that's definitely a weird place to be. I think as a thought exercise is super interesting and super helpful. I've also been recording footage on Saturdays, which is when I'm off and when my wife is at work. That gives me perfect amount of time to be with myself, kind of develop myself in an artistic way, and just kind of give myself space to play around and fail. The whole reason I'm making this video is because I originally wanted to make a video about sewing new clothes, but I got really frustrated with making those patterns. I realized that it would take me a lot longer than the 2 weeks I give myself to shoot for something that I've never done before, so it was kind of a fool's errand to begin with. That kind of led me to start panicking, to be like, oh, what can I shoot? Because I do want to keep a consistent schedule of one video per month. So I was kind of like looking through all the different things that I had initially started, and none of them are even halfway through, so I figured it'd just be easier to kind of show everything that I'm working on, because kind of the whole idea of the book is to continue to have projects and to be creative and to put stuff out. The first one is a controller repair. I was at a thrift store and I bought a $2 controller, and now I've ordered upwards of like $50 in materials to repair this controller. I also suck at soldering. That's gonna be a journey for sure, but I do think that given my interest in electronics, it's a good skill to develop. Next is the custom shirts and pants. Like I said earlier, this is something that I wanted to originally put out, but it's such a bigger project than I anticipated that it's gonna take me some time. But yeah, like I'm a short dude. Nothing fits me off the rack. I have to go get things altered anyway. So if I'm gonna spend that money, I may as well just learn how to make clothes. I think that that's a fun skill. It definitely fulfills the like working with my hands criteria that I have. I've started making the patterns. They're more difficult than I thought, and then also because the book that I'm using, the instructions aren't as clear as I think I would like them to be, so I definitely am gonna lean on my mom, who did that professionally for a while, kind of guiding me through it, but that's definitely a much longer process than I anticipated. But hopefully I should have that come out at some point this year. It shouldn't be that hard, right? Right? I got a new job and I'm not fully onboarded yet, so I have a lot of free time. And what I've been doing in my spare time has just been developing a personal website. At some point I got it stuck in my head that I wanted it to look like Mega Man in that game. This is what it currently looks like, and this is what it's supposed to look like. I'll put stuff up on screen. Yeah, I mean, I still don't fully understand like there are different frameworks and there's different like languages that can be used and different setups. I don't fully understand all of it. I'm just doing vanilla CSS and HTML, which for now is kind of working pretty well. I've seen a lot of things about people using React. It seems more effort than it's worth for what I'm doing, but maybe, you know, once my site is done, I'll rebuild it in React. To end this video, I'll leave you with a quote that I'll put up on screen now, that I think is really pertinent to kind of the spirit of the book. I think if you take one thing away, it's this. So yeah, thank you for watching.